welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly, but I mean we talk about what's on our minds. Cause we're Telly. I'm Soul, the cop.
You're bad cop. I'm Tyler, the good cop.
Yes, bad
We
cop,
have a
good
good
cop.
we have a good cop, bad cop routine going here.
We really do. I think you would be a really good cop.
Thank you. I would make a good cop, and you would make a good bad cop.
Yeah, I would make a good bad cop. Today we're talking
Precisely.
about the movie Hot Fuzz.
The one, the only, Hot Fuzz.
The only Hot Fuzz, which came
Now,
out in 2007?
yes. My first question is, why is it called Hot Fuzz? I
Well,
watched the whole movie, and
let's
other than the one time that they were like, "It's the fuzz," I really don't know why it's called. Like, why are they hot? They're not particularly hot. Are like what?
well,
And is fuzz
let's
like British slang for policeman? Like what?
well, we say fuzz.
No, we don't.
Americans,
I've
yeah,
never in my life heard someone say fuzz.
I have. It's like
Okay.
a city thing. Let's give a little description of Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is a British cop movie, which it's kind of a
Oh my God,
parody.
fuzz is an American word. It came from America in 1929.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I've never heard it before.
Really?
Deadass, I've never heard the word fuzz before.
You've never
But
heard
this says
like
it's originally British. Which is
you've
true.
never heard like, oh my God, it's the Fuzz, run, you know?
Okay, apparently fuzz is because British police officers would wear helmets that had felt on top. So they were like fuzzy.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I've never heard fuzz before, but now I feel like I'm being manipulated into thinking I have, and now I'm creating fake memories where I have heard the word fuzz before, but before
You've heard
5
the word
minutes
Fuzz
ago,
before.
I've never heard it. Stop it.
You've heard it.
No, I'm getting like fake memories now
I'm
of
really
hearing
good
the
at
word fuzz.
gaslighting today, I guess.
So you admit it.
Admit what?
Gaslighting me.
I'm not gaslighting you.
Fuck
What makes you think
off.
I'm gaslighting you?
Anyway,
Anyways, it's a comedy British cop movie that's
you said that order wrong.
absolutely
You should have said like
hilarious.
it's a
British cop
comedy
comedy movie?
movie.
It's a
Now,
British comedy cop movie, but it's a comedy British cop movie.
you're right. I knew it was a comedy and I knew it was a cop movie, but the movie started and my very first note was I didn't know this was British. It really threw me off. Like, because cops are such like an American thing. Like even this movie was very Americanized, even though it was British cops.
Yeah,
Like there were too many guns for England. England does not have that many guns,
yeah.
and the police officers just don't have weapons like that. And I was just so
It
thrown off when the
is.
movie started that they were British.
This is a kind of, it's like not technically a parody movie, but it's like a movie trying to parody American cop movies, but it's like not actually a
Oh yeah,
parody.
it's such
It's
a
like
parody.
a real movie.
It's not a parody, but it's very much like that's the comedy of it. Like
Yeah,
that is what
yeah,
makes it a comedy is they're being very dramatic about. That's why when you watch the movie, you're like, wow, they somehow fit every single movie trope into this movie. And you know how they
yeah,
did that? Because it's a parody.
yeah. And leading into that, do you want to know why it's called Hot Fuzz?
Mm-hmm.
So, according to this website about movies, Hot Fuzz was conceived to parody two-word action movies. Like his partner showed him like two cop movies, and one of them was like, what was it? It was like,
Bad guys.
yeah, it was like Bad Guys 2 and like Hard Target or something, and they wanted to like pull that
Oh my
as
god,
just
even
like,
the name is part of the parody.
yeah,
Even the
they wanted to
fucking name.
like this says it just sounds like they pulled two random adjectives. They just pulled out random adjectives and then another one just random nouns that were maybe cop related out of a hat, and like that was the title.
That's hilarious. And it works. You're like, yeah, that's a badass movie.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz. That sounds like a dope ass cop movie. That's amazing.
Comedy cop movie. That's what you gotta title them.
Okay, so the premise of this movie is essentially this London cop who is like really good at his job. He's like the best cop in London. He's good at athletics, at shooting. He's really smart. He's really strategical. He has great endurance. Like he's top tier cop, and everyone else on the force Sorry, what did he? You can't call it a force anymore. A team?
Um,
What did he say the
fuck.
entire movie?
No, it wasn't team. It was not
Service? Police
service. It was
service.
service. Yep, service. Which sounds weird. No one says police service.
Yeah. But the rest of the police service was very jealous of him. They didn't tell him that. They were very jealous of him, and he was kind of like an outlier because of how good he was, and he
Because
was
he took
making
his job
everyone else look
way more
bad.
seriously than everyone else.
Yeah, and he made everyone else look bad. So the inspector of London was like, "Yeah, we're gonna relocate you to this small country town where they don't have a sergeant like that's as good as you. So we're gonna put you there. And guess what? There's no crime in this village. So you have fun with your job." And he's like, "Well, fuck. All right. Well, shit. But okay, I'll make it my village. It's gonna be my bitch. This village is gonna be my bitch." And he goes there, and everyone's like, "There's no crime in the town where everyone knows each other because it's so small and we're so nice and so cool."
You know, considering how small it was, I'm very concerned that no one noticed all of those fucking children that went missing. Like, it's barely addressed.
Yeah,
It's barely addressed, but all of these children just go missing and no one cares?
I don't want to talk about this now, but we can talk about it later. But I was shocked at how many people were dead
Me
in those
too!
caves. I was like, oh my god, they didn't just kill like 5 people. This is like a regular thing that they do.
They just
Holy
kill anyone
shit!
for any reason all the time. How is the town still alive? Like, how is there anyone left?
Maybe that's why the town is so small because they killed the mass population, and they're just like, oh, everyone moved away, and
Like, are
there's no.
parents just not concerned that their children are just all missing?
Maybe their parents are dead.
Yeah, you know, that would explain it. Anyway, carry on.
So this cop, his name is Angel, Nicholas Angel.
Angel. I forgot his name. Thanks for reminding me.
He takes his job way too seriously, and his only focus is his job and his plant. It's like on his hierarchy of priorities. It goes his job, his peace lily, and then like him, and then like everything else. And he doesn't really care about anything else
Pretty much,
until
which is why his girlfriend dumped him.
until he
He
meets
meets
his
a man.
partner. He
He
meets
meets
this
the love of his
man,
life. I
and
like
I
that we
love.
both agreed that, like, the
They're
point of them,
boyfriends.
the
They're
point of
definitely
them was for the
boyfriends.
first time, like, they really make it obvious his character flaw is that he can't care about anything other than his job. And for the first time, after getting close to his partner Danny, he starts to care about something more than his job. It's like, oh my god, that's
This is
so gay,
that
right?
is gay. It is. He won
Like,
him
he didn't,
a big monkey. That was shit was so cute.
and he like
It's like, I won
immediately
this
left to
for
get him a
you.
birthday present. The way he
Oh,
just ran to get him a birthday present. Oh my
it's
god,
so fucking. They're so cute.
they
They're
are
so cute.
gay. Like he couldn't do that for his girlfriend, and he did it for his partner.
That is so cute. I love them so much. Um, let's see. What was I talking about? His
Oh
part.
yeah, there you go.
I love that the first time he meets his partner, he doesn't even know him, and he arrests him
I
on
didn't
his
realize for like
day zero.
halfway through the movie that it was the same guy. Like, I realized that he was also a police officer because they did that whole bit, like, why are you here? And it's, why are you wearing a
Yeah.
police uniform? And he's like, because I'm a police officer. But then, because of my face blindness, I kind of didn't realize that that was the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
guy that was his partner. I just thought it was another cop. And then halfway through the movie, I realized it was his partner, and I was like, holy shit, that's funny.
The really, I really like the really intense montages they do whenever they're like pushing forward, like arresting people. Like, you don't have to sit through all the people that he arrests, but the intense montages that make it like an
Okay,
intense action movie,
not
but they make them comedic, which is really funny.
not even the montages during action scenes, but just like the montages when anything happens. I just like the style of the way it was shot with like random clips and
Oh my
angles.
god,
You know what I mean?
yeah, when he was moving to the village and he was just like the montage with him and his plant was giving like Bella moving to for the first time, where she like has this comedically small cactus that she carries into the house, and it's really, it was
Like,
hilarious.
every time they entered that one shop, and it just showed the sign that said like no school children allowed, and then at the
Yeah,
end,
yeah,
all the school children go into the shop. That was incredible. Like, I just loved the style of this movie because everything was like a quick shot whenever there wasn't dialogue happening, and
yeah. It was very fast moving.
it was so fun to watch. I've never seen a movie in this style, and it was just incredible.
You should watch more parody movies. I love the way they show the villains. Like the villains, you're obviously they like put a suspect right in front of you. Where you're like, oh, it's for sure 100% the store owner. Like obviously it
Can
is,
I just say
but
that
it's not.
the store owner, was like, if you imagined an evil businessman, and then he was just real. Like,
That's him.
I don't know how he exists in real life. Like, he
Yeah,
looks like the guy on the cover of Clue. Like,
yeah.
he, I don't know how this man is a real person to get this role, because he just looks exactly how you would picture him to look, and he's real. And it was just mind blowing to me.
Also, his like really creepy ass smile. He never broke that smile. Like even when he was speaking, it
Yeah,
was
like,
scary.
it was so correct. And then he was so suspicious, especially when the car crash people died, and then he was like, he knew who it was, and he was like, well, I know because news travels fast. But then everyone else in the town was like, what happened? And if news really traveled fast, then they would have known too.
Yeah.
He was so suspicious, but let me just say, the the end of the movie with the plot twist where the entire town is the bad guy blew my
Yeah.
fucking mind.
Me too.
I
It that
did
actually did blow
not
my
see
mind.
that.
I caught on to that like maybe 20 minutes before they revealed it. I
Okay,
was like, "Oh, it's the Night Watch. I know it. I know it." Cuz like right when he thought of, "Oh, it's more than one character. It's more than one person." I was like, "Oh, yeah, it's definitely the Night Watch people."
I didn't realize how many people were in the Night Watch group.
You know what's funny? They tell you all of the killers like 10 minutes into the movie.
Do
When
they
he looks
really?
at the fountain, all the names are on
Right,
that gold
right.
plaque, and it says 9, which means there's 9 killers in red.
Dude,
Were
that's
there 9?
genius.
No, there weren't 9. There were. Oh no, because I guess they killed some of them.
Are they not scared to be a part of this group, knowing that at any moment they could just turn on them and kill one of them?
No, I
Because
think.
I think they think they're too good for that. Like, they know they're perfect and would never do something to get themselves killed.
Yeah, they don't have to be scared unless they want to leave, and they don't want to leave because they love their town.
But what if one day they just like accidentally start doing something the others deem annoying? Like, they just killed. Okay, I thought it was hilarious that all the pieces were connecting for this really elaborate business scheme, and then it was just like, yeah, that girl's laugh was annoying, so she had to go. This other guy was a bad actor. Like, what if one day one of them just starts doing something annoying? They're just gonna get murdered. It was so funny that that was their reasoning.
I feel like if they started doing something annoying, they would be confronted by the others and being like, hey, that's annoying, don't do that. Unless it's like an uncontrollable annoyance, like that girl's laugh and like his acting, he definitely could never be a good actor. But like, I don't feel like the inner circle. Like, there's definitely leaders. Like, there's definitely like the.
I was shocked the police captain was like in the
Yeah,
group
that is what I was shocked about. I was like, oh my god, it's the inspector?
because
Holy
the
shit!
because he was like making fun of the Night Watch. He was like, because like they introduced the Night Watch, and it's very obvious the Night Watch is like the only people that cares as much as Angel does about like following the rules. And the police captain's like, oh, those guys are silly, but then he was like in charge to them.
I think is because he's the leader, he sees them as like little children being like, oh yeah, they're having their little fun, like blah blah blah. And then they like kill, like it's just like they're like his children. And they're like,
I
oh yeah, they're just running around in the backyard killing rabbits, you know.
I was
That's what they
fascinated that
do.
like both sides in this movie were had very horrible a very horrible sense of morality, Because Angel, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, what a dick. This guy's stuck in stage four morality, thinking that, like, you have to follow the law, because you totally should bend the law for the greater good or whatever, like the people were saying. But then, for some godforsaken reason, they think the greater good is murdering people for any minor annoyance, which is not, not what that is. And they were
Yeah.
just like, everyone in this movie was horrible except for Danny.
Danny showing up to the scene.
Oh, that got me. I thought he was in on it the whole time for a bit. And
I
then
was.
I knew he was going to do the ketchup thing, and did you see he stabbed him right where he put the notebook in before he left?
Yeah.
That was so cute. Like, the notebook scene on its own was cute because he remembered it was, like, his weapon, and then he stabbed him right where the notebook was so it wouldn't hurt him, and I knew he was going to do the ketchup bit. And it was so good.
At first, I was like, no, come on. And then he, like, didn't have a line. And I was like, oh, okay, he's not part of it. Like, he didn't say anything. And I was like,
Yeah, he wasn't
okay.
like, I've
He's
been in on
not.
this the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's not part of this. Okay.
I
Thank
was
God.
surprised that the group let Danny, like, take his body away. I'm surprised they didn't, like,
Yeah.
make sure he was dead. That felt like a little bit of a hole in the movie.
It's also like the inspector, like his dad. Also, Danny's a nepo baby, which like I
Oh,
don't
for
know,
real.
but
He's
like
incredible, though.
his dad. I'm surprised that like he Danny's like, oh, I didn't know they were like killing people, and then he fake kills Angel, and then his dad just like lets him like if
Right? Like, if he
Danny
didn't know they
never
were
knew.
killing people, then why did he know that he had to fake
Yeah,
kill him?
yeah.
Right? It
I'm
felt
like,
like a plot hole.
why did I was like what? I'm so confused. But like, and then the movie ends like 3 times where you're like, oh, Angel dies, and then like he runs away, and that's the end. But no, he comes back, and then they have this epic ass
A big, big fight,
parody
and
parody fight scene.
and then, okay, that fight scene was hilarious because everyone just had their guns stashed on them in some secret
Yeah,
way. That was so comical.
I
And then
love
after the
when
big fight scene, there's the final fight scene. Well, you think it's the final fight scene with the businessman, right?
yeah, I love when Angel comes back and he like goes to the station and he just like fucking transforms into an American cowboy cop, and that shit was so funny. That was fucking hilarious. I'm like, dude picked
Like,
up like 7 guns
and then,
that he was gonna use. Like, he probably
right?
was gonna use one of them. Hopped
It
on a
was so
horse. I was like, where
unnecessary.
did
It
he
was like
get this
inconvenient. Where did he get
horse?
the horse from? And
He
then,
no, he drove all the way back out to the countryside to grab the horse
that's so funny.
that they were taking care of, that the first people he killed or whatever. He drove all the way back out to the countryside,
Just
picked
to
up
get
a
the
horse,
horse.
rode back into town with like
With
10 guns
too
strapped
many
on him.
guns to even be, like,
That is so
worth it.
extra.
And then the entire town just was for some reason like American with like having a bunch of hidden guns on them. This whole movie, all of the guns was just so unrealistic for England. Like, there's a
Yeah.
reason that people in England get murdered from stabbings, and that's why they wear stabbing vests and not from guns, and that's why the cops need to
Well,
have bullet vests because no one carries guns like that in England.
well, in a small village they might,
Well,
in the
yeah,
middle of nowhere.
in a small village, I could see them having like those bigger like hunting style guns.
The
But
rifles.
a lot of them had small guns too, and that was just insane to me. And
Yeah.
then I love the gag where the woman was coming on a bicycle and then Danny just opened the car door. I saw it coming a mile away. Like, I knew it was coming, and it still cracked me up.
I think I think what's really cool about the way they did the villains was they put like the storekeeper on top, being like, this is the villain. Obviously he's the villain. But if you really look, if you just like threw that all to the side and like really, really looked at the background and really looked closely, there are so many clues that you're like, oh, it's either like the surveillance office guy, like up in the second floor of the station, or it's like the entire night watch, because they had a security system that was like 45 cameras on every single corner of every village, of all the village, and honestly, I'm
I just
surprised they didn't have him in the house.
I just thought it was the store guy because of all his comments about not liking the competition. And I knew the Michael, the inbred guy, I knew he was in on it. Like when he appeared to like do the murder, I was like, yes, I knew Michael was in on this. I just like knew he was the guy doing like the work. His
I don't think
joke
he
was
was.
so funny. They were like, yeah, that's that guy, he lives with his sister and his mother. They're the same person.
Oh my god, I didn't catch that joke.
You didn't
That's
catch
fucking
that?
hilarious.
It was one of the funniest jokes in the movie. They just like casually, that's why he's like that. And it is casually established that his sister
I
is also
heard
his
it,
mom.
but it didn't click until you just. I think it was the accent. It just didn't hit me. But then when you
It
said
didn't hit
it, I
you.
was like, oh, okay,
No,
I get
there
it
were
now.
like three really funny jokes in a row. That was the third one. There was one where they were like, yeah, that was the second most painful thing that happened to me. And then a little bit earlier, that thing where he's like, you have a mustache. And the guy goes, I know.
Oh yeah, that one was really good.
That guy looks exactly like all of your mustache men, by the
No,
way. I saw him,
stop,
and I was like, oh,
stop,
you did it again. You picked another
stop,
movie with the mustache man.
stop it. He wasn't the main character this time though.
He wasn't. I hated his character, how they never believed Angel when Angel, we know as the
Dude,
audience
I
that
was just
murders
as
are happening.
frustrated as he was.
I was ready to, like, I don't say this very often, but I wanted to punch all of the cops in the room.
Yeah,
It was so
and then
frustrating.
I like low-key thought they were in on it for a second, but then I was
Me
like, no,
too.
they're just like so not
Okay, I was
into it.
surprised how quickly they believed Angel. Like, at the end of the movie, when they're like about to fight the police captain and they actually side with Angel, I was genuinely surprised they believed him and sided with him so quickly.
I skipped that part.
Oh, damn.
I just like cut through the ending really quick because I had like 20 minutes left.
Okay, so like the whole like beginning of the movie, because this is a pretty long movie. It's like 2 hours, and the whole beginning of this movie is
It's
like
not
this
that
guy
long.
who's a cop who has personal issues, and like is in this small village, and you think he's gonna like grow as a person or whatever, and then you're like 45 minutes in, and suddenly this is a slasher movie. And let me tell you,
Yeah,
I did not see that coming.
it's very Scream.
I was like, why is I literally wrote down this is like if you made Scream a comedy.
Yeah.
I was so excited that you picked out a movie that was like Scream, but I did not see it coming, and I was like, this guy is in a hooded robe stabbing people. Like, what is happening?
Yep.
The gore was like creepy. Like the beheaded people and the guy getting like like smushed by that big
Yeah,
like
that was
stone.
actually gross. I was actually grossed out about that.
I was not
That was
expecting this
scary.
comedy to have such intense gore. Like I thought the gore would be silly, but the gore was actually kind of scary, and I did
Me,
not like it.
when I connected this to Scream, that also gave me the like inference that there was more than one killer because that's what they do in Scream
That's funny.
sometimes.
I had
And
the
so I was like, "Oh
opposite.
my god, it's like a group of people." Because
I had the complete opposite revelation. I was like, oh my god, it's a slasher now. A slasher? Hang on a second. That storekeeper at the beginning of the movie called himself a slasher. It's him. Like the very first moment someone died, I was like, it's the store guy. He called himself a slasher.
they made him too obvious because every
I
time he
know.
talked, he was
It's like
like, "I love killing people, and I think that you should die, and I want to
I
smash your
couldn't
head into a concrete
I
wall." And
couldn't figure it
I'm
out
like,
because I
"What
knew they
is
were making him
no?"
too obvious, but I also knew enough information that I knew he had to at least be in on it. So that's why I thought it was just his entire store and everyone who worked at his store was in on it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love Danny always repeating everything Angel says. Like
Yes. Oh
10
my
minutes
god, I was gonna
later,
bring that
he was
up.
so in love with
He would
him.
just steal his lines. He's like, "No, I got this, Angel.
And then, okay, I
They
genuinely
did this
thought
because
when
they
they
did
were watching
this."
movies while drunk together, when they like kind of paused and there was like romantic
Dude,
music
they
playing,
should
that I
have
thought they were
fucking
gonna kiss.
kissed.
I
They
thought they
should
were
have
going to
kissed.
kiss in a 2007 cop movie. I thought these two guys were gonna kiss.
It was so intimate, and then it turned into like more of like a holy grail type thing. Like he brought out the holy grail of the two movies, and then they're like, "Oh my god!" But I wish wish they kissed. Like, they should have fucking kissed.
I
I hope
loved
they
when they
get
called each
married.
other their partner, because I was like, oh, partner.
Oh my gosh, I also love that Angel keeps police officer gender neutral. They're like, oh, I'm a policewoman. Actually, you're just a police officer because
That's
gender
why he's
doesn't
gay.
matter.
He's gay.
He's queer for sure, 100%. Ally for sure. Don't get many of those these days.
Oh, the woman officer is Olivia Colman, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
That was cool. She has like such like a very like specific face. She's one of the only actors I can recognize on sight, and because I'm just like, yeah, that's Olivia Colman.
Did you pick up on any of like the dick jokes or the sex jokes the entire movie?
No, I need you to tell me about the name thing because I
They
did
were
not pick it up.
Everyone's name was like almost everyone's name was like a dick joke or a sex joke. Like the entire movie was riddled with sex jokes. Like like right under like it was more casual than the obvious punchlines, but it was like if you just like read the script, you're like, oh my god, this entire movie is sex jokes. Like when they put in these like little they put in these scenes like I think there was like twice where it was Angel in bed at night and he was like thinking about his day and he had this like hand grip thing that he was like squeezing and it was perfectly placed where his dick would be. And that was basically him like jerking off.
That's funny. I didn't know.
The character names, they're obvious like sex jokes, but let me look up the character names and I'm just gonna read a couple off to you. We got Martin Blower. Um Peter Ian Staker. But his
Oh, piss taker. Yeah, they made that one
yeah.
obvious. I thought that was funny. And then it cut to the swan thing being real, and when he thought it was like a joke.
I swear there were more than this.
I feel less dumb if it's just blower and piss taker.
Yeah, Butterman. For butt.
Oh my god, you know the bit at the end? Okay, so back to how the movie never ends. There's like this big final battle, and then they like beat the very last guy, and then the movie is just still going, and you're like, why?
Oh my god.
What?
Let me read you a couple of the last names of the Night Watch group. You got Reverend Shooter, Dr. Hatcher, Skinner.
They're all like slasher names. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Thatcher? No, that's the Weaver. Roper.
Oh, they're all. Oh my god, that's such
Reaper.
a good clue. Oh fuck.
Staker.
What?
This is so obvious.
What?
It's so obvious that they were all the killers. All their last names were.
It's like right in front of you the whole movie, but it's still a plot twist.
Yeah. That's actually fucking crazy.
So you think the movie's gonna end, and they like have the big battle, and then they fight the very last guy, and then the movie is just still going, and you're kind of like, why is this movie still going? Like, why is the movie not over? And then they address like the lingering thread that hasn't been tied up, which is the big fucking war bomb thing, and
the sea mine.
Yeah, and you're like, well, yeah, it makes sense. The movie can't end without that exploding. But then they hint to Danny dying, and then it cuts to like a year later where you're at a grave with his last name on it, with Angel there. But I knew this immediately. They wouldn't show the first name on the grave, just the last name. So I was like,
oh, of
it's
course.
Totally
I
not
knew
him.
he wasn't gonna die.
Yeah, I was like, that's not him. It's a gag. And then they did the gag, and I was like, haha, I'm smart. I saw the gag coming. All the random gags in the movie, like all the gags that would happen, because it's a comedy, they would just be like a completely unhinged shit happening at such random times. It was so us. Like Danny's notebook just being little sketch like drawings that he flipped through.
Yeah. His little
and
flipbook.
When the mine went off with like the very last guy like doing a shootout, I was just thinking like, the movie's not over yet. I wonder if there's one more guy, and then the one more guy appeared.
This movie was fantastic.
This movie had every movie trope that ever existed.
I had like 3 different people tell me this movie was amazing, and then I watched it, but I didn't watch like the ending. I like shut it off halfway through for some reason.
Oh, bro,
Um,
the ending's the best part.
it is the best part. That's the ending is what you would call a parody movie. Like that. That's the parody part of the movie. The rest of
It's
it,
a little
it's a real
slow,
movie.
but it's still funny. Like, even though it's slow at the beginning's still hilarious.
The action at the beginning of the movie was like a little slow at the beginning. I think that's why I shut it off. But watching it this time through, I actually technically didn't watch the ending again. I guess I cut through it. But
Bro, you gotta watch the ending sometimes.
I gotta watch it the full length of the ending. I saw most of it, but the ending was fucking phenomenal. It was hilarious and amazing, and I fucking loved it.
I just never got over both the fact that 45 minutes in it turned into a slasher, and then all the plot twists at the end. It just kept coming. It was just plot twist, plot twist, plot twist. It was hilarious.
45 minutes in actually is also where the point where Angel starts relaxing and starts like living in a village. Like he's like, I feel like I am supposed to be here now.
I think it's connected too with like the first 45 minutes, like because he hasn't relaxed yet, he's so uptight that you're like, this guy's in the wrong with his mentality. But then because he relaxes, he has a kind of different mentality and he stops being in the wrong. Like the whole beginning of the movie, like especially when he first left the town, the bit is that he's way too serious and the movie's making fun of him. And I kind of thought it was funny that there were some boomers who probably watched this movie thinking that the people in the town who are like, bro, you need to chill, were like stupid. And like that's what was funny. Because the funny part is, at the beginning of the movie at least, it's funny because he takes his job way too seriously. Like he's what they're making fun of. But then once he starts to relax, he starts learning like how to switch off and stuff. And honestly, not knowing how to switch off is normally not good because you know it like ruins everything else in his life. But I think not knowing how to switch off is good when you're solving an actively going like slasher murder.
Oh, of course.
It was just bad because he was arresting people for silly reasons at the beginning, but then it started being reasonable because there was a fucking serial killing going on.
Yeah. And I love that his boyfriend helped him learn how to switch off.
His boyfriend, okay, it was like he don't love anything more than his job, and then he started loving this man more than his job, and he as soon as he found that it was his birthday, he ran to go get him a gift, and he like he left his job for this boy. Oh my god, they're gay. They're gay.
A year later, when they were at the grave, they were definitely dating. Like they were definitely boyfriends at that point. They were official, 100%.
Okay, so I started off with 4 pages of notes, and now I only have 1 page left. Good job, guys.
Woo.
Guys, it's just you. All right. At the beginning of the movie, I thought it was so weird that the force, fuck him, the police force was like, you have no choice in this. You have to go to the countryside because most jobs will kind of usually be like, we're offering you this better position, but if you don't want the better position where you have to move, you don't have to take it. But they were just like, no, you're moving. Like you don't get a say in this, which is so weird. And I know it was because they were trying to make him disappear because he was too good. But yeah.
I think it was like it was very fan fiction-y where it's like, oh, I woke up and my
Your
mother
parents
was
sold
selling
you to
me
One Direction.
to One Direction, and you have no choice about it. So I think that's what it.
Oh yeah,
was.
that was part of the parody. And then when he kept getting calls from London, I kind of thought it was like his ex-girlfriend, and they were gonna do like a Die Hard type of thing where he grows as a person throughout the movie and then gets back together with his ex-girlfriend. But no, the calls from London were his old job begging for him back because everything fell apart without him.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the beginning of the movie, I was like, he should just quit. Like, he wouldn't quit because he loves this job more than anything in the world. It's all he cares about. But like, they were just forcing him to move. And I was like, bro, I would quit. And then he was like, well, we'll have to see what everyone else thinks about this. And then it was just them throwing him a party for leaving.
Congratulations! Oh.
And then he moves And then they do that whole fascist hag bit with the crossword puzzle with the old lady, which was so funny. The implication of that is that he had already done that crossword puzzle earlier that day and memorized the answers, that he was able to do that and be correct about it.
Wait,
And I
did
just
he?
like that. Because he was like, yeah, it was 3 down, hag. And she was like, oh, you're right, thanks. Which just implies that he already did the crossword puzzle.
I thought he was just looking at the crossword while she was like
Oh, I
talking to
don't know.
him.
That would just require him reading upside down at a distance while talking, and that just seems really difficult.
Well, he is really smart.
He is the coolest man alive, you're right.
He could do it.
Alright, so
Plus, it
then,
was only 3 letters.
you're right. So because he's from London and everyone else is from the country, and I am minoring in linguistics, and I'm specifically taking a class in sociolinguistics right now, which is all about society and languages. I was analyzing
Society.
the fuck out of the differences in their accents. It was fascinating to me. Like, the differences in slang were obvious, and he didn't know what slang words they were using sometimes, and
Oh
sometimes they
yeah,
would
that
even make
one
a joke
guy.
about it with like someone would talk in like a really really thick country accent, and he would have no fucking clue what they were saying. But even like the normal country people where it wasn't a joke that their accents were different, I was still analyzing the differences in their accent. Specifically, if you look at the difference between how Angel and Danny say their R's, it's called rhoticity when someone says an R, and it's like a lack of rhoticity when like people with a Boston accent, for example, do not say the R in their words, like they just say car instead of car. Danny says car, Angel says car, and then when they did that bit where Danny was like, yeah, you gotta fall on your knees and go, R. When Angel repeats him, instead of going R, he goes, ah, without the R sound. And it was so funny to me.
That's hilarious. I
I,
really
I
like.
so invested in their accents.
I really like the scene where they're like, why did we need the dog? And Danny's like, oh, we didn't need the dog. And then they need the old guy, and they go talk to the country old guy, and then the guy's just like, and then they look at the cop, and they're like, what did he say? And the guy's like, and the Danny's like, yeah, he said,
Yeah.
they're in the shed. And they're like, oh, okay, let's go look in the shed. That guy's shed looks like every fucking American's closet, dude.
Yeah, that guy
He
was
had like
so American.
700 guns. I'm like, what the fuck? That you can buy those in England? Like, how? What do you mean? Where the fuck?
Right?
I'm surprised they ship guns to the United
How is this
Kingdom.
guy allowed to own that many guns? I mean, he's not. They were illegal. That's why they took them. But
Well, he was allowed to keep one of them.
you're right. One of them he had the permit for, and he was like, yeah, this one I have a registration for. Right when, speaking of the dog, right when they showed the dog, I immediately wrote down Saxon, my favorite character. Like, I loved the dog. I was like, yes, there's a dog in this movie. I wish he was more prominent. When we saw the Shakespeare man for the
The
first time,
house blowing up?
I thought he was a woman.
Really?
I was like, yeah, this is a woman. And then they started talking to him, and I was like, oh, my bad. I fully thought I thought he was a woman.
I
Look,
could see that.
yeah. Anyway, the one where they chased the guy after, and Danny was like really
The
far
garden?
behind.
That was the
I
the garden one.
I guess. And Angel is like so fucking athletic, and he was just like hopping all the fences, and then Danny hops one fence
Oh
and
no,
like
that's when
breaks through
they
it and
caught
falls.
the guy in the store and with the purple jumpsuit and was like
Right.
really.
That's what that was.
That was really funny when he fell through
So,
the
and
fence.
then, like, that was obvious, like, Danny was gonna fail, but then Danny keeps going and then fails a second time
Yeah,
and fell harder the second time. I didn't see that gag coming, and it was so funny.
that that was hilarious.
So, this movie was weird because it was so unserious. Like, it was just constant random gags. But for some reason, it was also, like, really deep and emotional and serious, and it was really throwing me off, like, how unserious but serious the movie was.
That's why it's like almost a parody because it has that
A little bit
seriousness
of
in it.
like a genuinosity to it.
Yeah,
I made up that word. I think genuity. Yeah,
genuinity.
genuity.
Is that
Yeah,
a word?
we got that. Anyway,
We know what we're saying.
what is Angel's trauma with guns? Because he's like, you know how I feel about guns before like winning the monkey for his boyfriend. What is? I know
He
he doesn't like
said
guns, but like, what was his trauma with it?
he said said that he like hadn't touched a gun in 2 years or something.
I know. Like, there was just, like, lines that implied some sort of trauma.
I don't know.
And
They gave him trauma for like being stabbed.
I
He
know.
shot that one guy. Remember? He's like he got a
Right.
gun because that guy attacked him with a gun, and then he took the gun and shot that guy.
Right.
I think it was that.
I think so. Okay, so fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. There's a cult that the entire town is in on, which is really fucking weird. And we find out that not only are they behind all the murders we've seen, but they're actually behind a shit ton more murders. Like the entire town is murdered, which
Yeah,
is
that
really
was
fucking
scary.
weird.
I was surprised by that.
And you like he falls down this hole and just sees a bunch of bodies, but some of them are bodies that we recognize of other background characters from the town, like the actor guy who's gold, and then a bunch of the kids, which really threw me off because the
Yeah,
police
that was
captain kind of was like,
surprising.
yeah, we're okay with the kids drinking underage because it's for the greater good. So then why the fuck did they go kill those kids? And
I think they
and
killed him because they were like loitering on the fountain that they
holy shit,
graffitied. I
maybe.
don't know.
And then I was just like baffled because why are these parents not like, hey, my kids are missing? Like, is no one concerned about all these missing people? Like, they just killed, those bodies were fresh. Like, they have killed like 20 people in the span of 2 weeks. And it was just mortifying. Like, no one is concerned about this?
Maybe they did like the kids like that night or something.
Could
I
be.
don't know.
I don't know. It was holy shit. And then all of the people died in the shootout, and I was like, yeah, fuck them boomers.
I was surprised when he fell in that hole. I thought it was like a punji trap or something, and then he like started running through the catacombs of the fucking church or whatever.
I thought he was gonna
And
be
I
like
was like,
trapped
what?
in there, and then he just made it out, and I was like, all right.
Yeah.
10 out of 10
Oh,
movie, funny,
I
action,
just
gay people.
I just found a note at the beginning where I said right when Angel went to the meeting of the Night Watch, I'm like, yeah, the Night Watch is 100% a cult, and that just I didn't connect that to the future plot.
I didn't pay much attention to the meeting he went to. I was like, yeah, this is a bit slow. Like, I just like did not process it as being important. Because
Yeah,
the movie was so long that some things like that, I was like, yeah, this isn't important.
this was a fantastic movie.
It was such a good movie. This is one of my favorites you've had us watch.
I was actually like gonna low key take this off the
I'm so
calendar.
glad you didn't, because it was so good.
Me too. I was like, oh, I kind of don't want to watch a cop movie. Like,
Me too. I was like,
it
you
not being
you
really
picked out a
good.
hot movie, and then it was so funny.
Yeah, I'm glad I kept it in there.
Who was your favorite character?
My favorite character is what would their ship
Spit
name
it out.
be? Angel?
Are you shipping? But Angel?
Angel Butt?
Angel Butt? My favorite
Angel
ship is
Butt.
Angel Butt. I am an Angel Butt stan. I'm
Angel
gonna
Butt
make
Stan ally to my grave. I
hashtag
love
Angel
them
Butt.
so much.
Danny was my favorite, but Angel grew on me. I hated Angel at first, but he had character development and he grew on me. And the dog, of
Angel
course.
Butt, number one couple in my eyes.
Angel Butt #1 shipper right here. We are the Angel Butt channel.
Angel Butt, #1 Angel Butt fans.
What would you rate this movie?
I would rate it a 4.9.
Holy shit! That's like
because there were a couple plot holes, but other than that, this was the best fucking movie. And if you look really closely, you'll find jokes that you didn't notice the first. You have to watch it like 5 times to get all
I
of
want to rewatch it to get more.
All of the jokes.
I want to rewatch it to get the jokes, and I want to rewatch it to like look for the murder clues.
Yeah.
Comedy slashers, man. Never knew I needed them until now.
Honestly, me neither.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 because I loved it, but it was a little slow at points.
Yeah, I get that.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly, specifically now, gay, cop, funny, horror movie. It wasn't horror, but slasher implies horror. I don't know, it was kind of gory at times. And there was like some weird horror, like editing bits. Like they would just like edit the screen like really red, like a weird 80s horror transition.
Yeah.
Anyway, you should subscribe if you like this because we talk about movies once a week, and if you like games, you could hit that subscribe button as well because we play games and we post gaming videos about once a week too. Peace.
Goodbye.